diferentes de si. Porque pouquinhos quebrando os planos. Fogo. Tanto fogo.
Battle for Earth begins.
Anything else that might get in the way of our ideal must be destroyed immediately.
The ultimate enemy has arrived. The enemy will be anonymized. Their single purpose: destroy our world.
I'm sure God would understand the steps we're taking.
Those who oppose them die.
Let me repeat that. If this mission fails, if we are unsuccessful, we have no future. We've had enough!
Isn't it about time that people realize the ones posing the most threat are none other than yourselves?
This is not me. This is a result.
What this is war.
Commence destruction.
Now, these pirates will shake the foundations of the Alliance and change the course of history. If they can stay alive.
Those Gundam pilots are desperate. They'll battle even if it means forfeiting their lives. Mission accepted. Of course not.
Just like it is with the stars, there are bright ones and there are those that are dim.
Both sides prepare for the final battle. Suit up.
Nothing good can ever come from staying with normal people.
Be very careful.
Mankind has reached the stars.
There has to be some sort of punishment.
Love the women that face plastic. Those are the ones that love her.
Get set! Go!
But I'm surging with women. Hillary Clinton's a bigot. She would not be my first choice that I could find.
We could get you in jail.
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I approve.
And I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
Go on to mama.
where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
I guarantee you there's no problem.
I think we should take a drug test prior to the debate. I never heard that one before.
Circuitry and metal, cold and emotionless, carry out tasks without conscience. Robots, thousands, programmed for destruction. March towards the future is coming. Man's greatest inventions, making the impossible possible, are no longer under our control.
Technological strength will just become a threat to the Earth.
This new breed of technology makes humanity obsolete. Robots, thinking, acting on their own, begin their march toward domination. These machines, built by man, serve no one. The robots among us, watching, waiting, calculate their new world order. Their time is coming. They cannot be stopped.
Attention, strange weapons are approaching. Attention, strange weapons are approaching.
With perfect weapons and superior intelligence, robots rule this planet. Let the fall of mankind give way to a new age.
This little mudball ready to do anyway.
Universal Century 0079. The one-year war rages on. Spacenoids against Earth dwellers.
I'm gonna drive the Xenon forces right off the Earth.
Zeke against Fetty.
Not bad for a penny, but I bet you're not ready for this.
As both sides prepare for the final battle.
Run for it!
The secret love of two enemies may be mankind's only hope for peace.
Fire at the enemy.
We're no better than they are. Begin.
the right to dream. There are endless possibilities stretched out before you.
Trust in your own power.
Whatever happens from now on, you stand firm and face your destiny without fear, but with courage.
What awaits him down the path, he will then have to choose.
No one's gonna give you a map. You've gotta walk your own path.
The children leave their homes in search of this quest.
What is thy desire?
As they search, they are always asking questions. What's out there? What's waiting for me?
Why was I made? Who made me? And what did they make me for?
You gonna go up into space with your old man or not? Maybe I'll never get over this. I've lived my life following my dreams, and I don't have any regrets.
You gonna just keep running away?
Just keep running away?
I'm not running.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Believe in yourself and create your own destiny. Don't fear failure.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
Excuse me, bro.
I said let
You're excused. I'm not your bro.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Controlled Substance. I'm your host, Orphan. Me, the man, the myth, the legend, the giant dick daddy. And I didn't mean that. This is a PG show, and that is, while it may be true, it is inappropriate to say. What's up, Young? Hey, man, good to see ya. What's up? Obviously, we got the liturgical wifey in the building. We got Young. We got some other mysterious lurkers. Today's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show. I haven't had too much time to dive into it, so we're going to be synthesizing our take live, but affirmative action is dead. Black Uncle Tom, Clarence Thomas, has officially race traded his way into striking down affirmative action. That's what I've heard. We'll have to dig into it a little bit, see what's actually going on, but it seems good. It seems good to me, because the other way to look at this at a very high level is affirmative action being struck down is actually just anti-Asian, anti-white racism being abolished. Yeah, that's what it is. People who are more qualified get passed over under the guise of diversity, right? And there's all sorts of arguments we'll go over, but I don't think anyone should be arguing that the more qualified people should be getting the jobs, getting admitted to college. And I mean, college is a scam anyways, right? So don't go to college anyways. If there's any college hopefuls here, white, black, whatever you want to be, then, like, don't go. There are bigger systemic problems here, as with anything, but that being said, the most racist policy in America on a constitutional level being over, that's great. Big W. Big W. That, abortion getting struck down, like there's some pretty white-pilled stuff here going on from the Supreme Court, so I'm here for it. We're going to dig in a little bit, see if we can't get a more nuanced take going, but on the face of it, it seems nice. Seems nice. The more qualified always win. Fuck it, says Young. Yeah, that's the truth. Dude, and on a long enough timeline, the more qualified will win no matter what law is enabled. But having less garbage laws in our country is better, for sure. No doubt about that. How are you guys doing? Are you guys having a good day? I'm having a great day. It is hot as a Yeti's taint? Gooch? What's that spot called now? What are the kids calling that? It is hot out, and we've got a garage sale coming up. I was watering the garden today. It's just a good overall time. So I'm looking forward to just, like, maybe taking a cold shower after this or something, because believe it or not, an attic in an old house is literally hotter than hell. The actual hell in real life, hotter than that. So the AC's working overtime. I'm in here just sucking up Freon. But we're going to make it. We're going to make it. You're going to make it. Always a good day in Orphan's World, says Young. And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. Big things today. Let's hop right into it without further ado. Controlled Substance Arena. Blue pill time, baby. Okay, first things first. We'll go over the blue pill section of this by taking a look at the Wall Street Journal. Let me set up my browser real quick. Gooch life, baby. Let's go. Gooch. It's also called a gooch. I said it's hotter than a Yeti's taint out here today, but it's also called a gooch. So you're in the right place, Gooch. And here for the lulz, we'll be having some epic lulz here today. We'll be going gamer mode on some racism. Man, I am overexposed. Hold up. There we go. Gooch heat is everything. You know what we need to do? I think the solution to global warming is we just power everything through Gooch heat. Has nobody thought of this? We're supposed to have geniuses. Everyone's supposed to be following the science. The hottest thing in the planet Earth that I have ever felt is a gooch. Where are our brilliant scientists? Where's the Large Hadron Collider when it comes to gooch heat science, you know? It's non-existent. Hearing crickets out here. Yo, did I take the cricket sound off of my soundboard? Damn, I'm gonna have to put that back on. Here, have this one instead.
What the dog doing?
Bingo bango. All right, Wall Street Journal, the ultimate blue pill website. Washington, the Supreme Court found it unconstitutional to consider race in university admissions, eliminating the principal tool the nation's most exclusive schools have used to diversify their campuses. Thursday's 6-3 decision will force a reworking of admissions criteria throughout America higher education, where for decades the pursuit of diversity has been an article of faith. University officials have insisted no substitute for racial preferences exists that can ensure that a representative share of minority applicants, particularly black students, gain admission to selective institutions. No longer able to give such applicants an automatic boost, admissions offices must now decide where racial diversity ranks among priorities that can include academic performance, achievement in extracurricular activities such as athletics, and preferences for alumni and donors. Before the court were admissions practices at two pillars of American higher education: Harvard, the Ivy League titan, whose name has symbolized achievement and power for centuries, and the University of North Carolina, a public flagship which, like other land grant institutions, what are land grant institutions? I don't even know what that means. Provides an elite education subsidized by taxpayers for state residents. Both schools said that, consistent with decades of Supreme Court precedent, a minority's applicant's race could serve as an unenumerated plus factor that raised chances of admission. What that means is basically that they can do whatever they want. As long as it's racist, they can do whatever they want. Lower courts agreed, rejecting lawsuits organized by Edward Bloom, a former stockbroker who has brought a number of cases against laws and policies that make distinctions based on race or ethnicity in areas such as voting and education. The 14th Amendment ensures that individuals receive equal protection of the laws from state agencies, including public universities, a standard that also applies to the most private colleges that receive federal funding. In general, the court has permitted racial preferences only to remedy specific acts of illegal discrimination, not compensate for general social injustices said to stem from historical practices. Okay. I'm going to scan through this and see if it is, if there's anything extra in here. We just want to get the lay of the land right now. Justice Lewis Powell, Corbis. Young says, people who call people racist are racist. Exactly, man. Literally, everyone is racist. It's how humans function. It's a part of humans. And particularly saying that like certain people can or cannot be racist because of how they're born is the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And like, that's a pretty normal opinion. Like, you'll hear, like, if you go out and ask a normal group of people, someone will tell you that white people cannot be racist. Well, it's not racist to be racist against white people. I don't even know what they say, man, but it's like, okay, so you're saying because I'm white, you can't be racist against me. It's like, do you even hear what you're saying? Does that even compute with you? And they give an argument about like power. They give an argument about whatever. It's like, okay, so unless we redefine the word racism, which obviously it's shifted meanings, but like racism just means dismissing someone because of the color of their skin. So saying that you can't be racist against a white person, it's like, what are you talking about? Young says Spanish people are racist towards other Spanish people I know grew up on it. Dude, yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. And white people are racist against other whites, too. It's like Italians, Irish. Like, does nobody remember Italian immigrants? You know how hard they had to work to assimilate? And now everyone just sees them as white. Literally everyone is racist all the time. And if you're not, you're actually stupid. I know maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. It seems like a pretty reasonable take to me, but if you're not racist, you're just ignoring an entire section of reality. because it exists, and saying that it doesn't exist doesn't. Like, and all of this is not saying that like you need. The point here is not to maximize hate based on prejudice. The point is just to admit reality, that you, as a human, especially living in a country as large as ours or in a global society like we have, like people need to be grouped into different strata in order to identify what the hell is going on in the world. I've said it before that back in the day, back when we were in tribes, the maximum amount of people that one person can like keep personal relationships that someone can keep in their mind is like 100 people. Any community larger than 100 people starts to become untenable without demographics, without race, without any sort of stratification between these people. You can't do it. Your brain's not powerful enough to do that. So take that out to millions of people in the United States, billions of people worldwide. It's like, well, you just want me to not? But that's how they get you, right? I mean, that's if they can get you to cut off that entire portion of your brain, then they can then get away with all this individualism garbage. And with their weaselly words, they can start to say like, oh, well, not everyone in that group is like this. It's like, yeah, bro, we all know. We're talking about groups. There's a difference when you talk about groups and when you talk about individuals. Individuals within groups is also a different thing. It's like they try and just, it's like debating with a high schooler or something. They like try and like tell you something that just is clearly not true, and they think they can win the argument by just continuing to say something that's not true. Anyways, we're off on a rabbit trail right now, but the speed of science, says Young. Gooch Life says admit reality, dude, truth. Yeah. Everyone's pretending that we don't live on planet Earth. Everyone's pretending that we live in some sort of utopia. No, we live on Earth. We live in a moral world on planet Earth. And just admit it, really easy. And these are all the science people, right? So, okay. So this is what's going on. Does anyone know, did what they strike down, was this only in regards to university admissions, or does this extend to hiring practices as well? I'm pretty sure it's just for college. What does Trump say on Truth Social over in the literal dust bowl of the internet? Trump says, "This is a great day for America. People with extraordinary ability and everything else necessary for success, including future greatness for our country, are finally being rewarded. This is the ruling everyone was waiting and hoping for, and the result was amazing. It will also keep us competitive with the rest of the world. Our greatest minds must be cherished, and that's what this wonderful day has brought. We're going back to all merit-based, and that's the way it should be." Truth. Yeah, preach, Trump. Slay, Queen. So I think it's just college admissions. And check out how the votes broke down, right? You've seen lots of pictures of Clarence Thomas. He was the swing vote. He was the vote, and so everyone's pumped about him. Here it is. Okay. So these are the 6 that voted to end it. And these are the 3 that voted against it. I don't know if you're noticing a pattern here. There is a pattern. It's a little difficult to surmise. But if you look at the 3 who voted against it, and then the 6 who voted for it, it's illuminating. And you can also see why Clarence Thomas is being raised up here. And a lot of people are calling him like an Uncle Tom. A lot of people are really mad at him. I love it, though. I'm here for it. Also, did this guy bleach his hair? Who is this? Here, I'm going to switch to normal browser mode. Look at this guy's hair. Actually 90s boy band hairstyle. It's kind of a vibe. And she looks like Pam from The Office. I don't often look at our Supreme Court justices. But we have Pam from The Office. We have Uncle Tom. We've got Justin from NSYNC. We've got... This is Kavanaugh, right? I don't know who these two are, frankly. And then the funniest part about this is that this woman looks like the literal hag from Hansel and Gretel. It's our first trans Supreme Court justice. I'm pretty sure. I'm not certain. Okay. Check this out, too. Kyle Becker. Joe Biden's former staffer, Erica Marsh, says the very racist quiet part out loud. Quote, today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty. Okay. Okay, women in politics, by the way, how do you write that tweet and not realize what you're what you're saying? And that is the ultimate quiet part out loud. That's so funny. Today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why we need affirmative action. Bro. All right. And this is it, right? You know. This is it. This is what liberals, and I'm talking left liberals, not my usual classical liberals, right? So this is what leftists think. They think that no black people will be able to succeed, and so they have to force equity. It's and I'm probably going to be doing like Daily Wire boomer takes here because it is fodder for that. But by forcing equity, which leftists always do, you're necessarily saying that people are unequal. They say it's because of systemic reasons, while others, more right-leaning people, usually say it's because of more innate issues. But there's... Man, I got to figure out how I want to take this tact, because at the end of the day, it boils down to both. Black people are far poorer in our country. They also have a lower average IQ. And when we get into this nature-nurture debate, you have to take everything into consideration. And most people will try and scapegoat you. They'll try and cherry pick what you're saying to make you look like a bad person. But the reality is, like, if we're talking about musical or athletic prowess, black people have a higher prowess in those than white people do as well. So the only value is not IQ, right? But there is an IQ disparity, and there's also an IQ disparity between Asians and white people. And we'll get into this as well, because this is how a lot of people on the right are talking about this now. They're using Asians as their example so that they don't have to identify as white. They don't have to, because that's been so demonized. But at the end of the day, if there wasn't affirmative action, there would be less diversity in college. And the question boils down to, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? And if you want everyone to feel like they're equal, then it's a bad thing. If you want a functioning society with the best people getting the best positions, the best education, the best jobs, then you need to accept the highest potential candidates, and you need to let everyone else figure out something else to do. There's a bunch of different layers here, but what it all boils down to is the fact that people are different, and we shouldn't be trying to force people to be the same. There's no affirmative action for playing on the Lakers. So why should there be affirmative action when it comes to doctors or getting into Harvard? And there's a complete other angle here. I'm just kind of spewing all my thoughts out here, but nepotism is way bigger of a problem than affirmative action. I'll have to pull up stats in between shows, but it's some sort of crazy percentage of Ivy League applicants or Ivy League students have been grandfathered in by their parents. It's only like 10 or 20% of admissions are non-legacy applicants. So it's not. This isn't even the biggest problem in college admissions by far. Nepotism is way bigger of a problem. But the fact that this was so blatant, and now it's struck down, and people are seething so hard, it's just great. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think it's funny that this lady decided to go out and say that black people won't succeed in a merit-based system. You need to define what succeed means. And you need to recognize that there's value other than going to Harvard. Young says my IQ is literally dog shit. Dude, but this is what I mean. It's like the number on the page means a good amount. Mostly it means a good amount because of how our society is set up. But that is not the only value that people should be judged on. Artistic value, communication, common sense, none of these are taken into account in IQ. IQ is just pattern recognition. It's just raw CPU power. People are more than raw CPU power. It's the same way you use your computer to do more than just the hardware of your computer. Yeah, if you have a faster computer, you have more potential to be able to do things. But there's also cooling in your computer. There's also the programs you install. There's, people just want to dilute all of these issues down to such tiny little buckets so that they can completely other whoever disagrees with them. We can't look at people just by their IQ, just by how smart they are, and especially we can't just judge people based on if they get into Harvard or not. That's garbage. So, unfortunately, a lot of leftists think this way. A lot of leftists, they're trying to help out their little bro. It feels like it's almost primitivism. Back when turn of the century, early 20th century, a lot of artists were traveling to Africa, and they were praising African culture for being so primitive and being so wholesome. It's almost like the same thing brought into today's day and age. Picasso was taking African masks, and he started a collection and African sculptures, and it was very vogue to take a trip to Africa and come back being more cultured because you've had an interaction with the natives, with these lesser people. It's pretty much how leftists act these days. It's like they artificially raise these people, the alphabet community. They raise up all black people. They raise up immigrants up to this faulty status above everyone else, and it's racist in and of itself. So when Kyle Becker says she's saying the quiet part out loud, like, she really is. This is how they think. The right things like this as well, to a certain degree, but people just need to expand and realize human value is more than just a number. It's more than just getting into Harvard. It's more than all of these things. So that's my take on that. Let's get into the black pill, and let's talk a little bit about how people are reacting to this. Raw's Alert says evacuations underway at Supreme Court's front steps following discovery of suspicious package. Ooh. Is it Christmas already? Nobody knows. Currently, multiple law enforcement are presently evacuating numerous individuals in response to a suspicious package discovered on the steps leading to the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. This comes amid protests over the court's decision that affirmative action in schools is unconstitutional. Police are actively investigating the situation while ongoing evacuations are being carried out.
Push that way. Everybody.
I wonder if they show the package. Thanks, Gooch Life. Gooch Life says always fire takes, and that's the truth, bro.
Go. You're getting pushed off. You gotta go. Everything says go.
Okay.
Okay, this is boring.
Hey guys, everyone.
Okay, so anyway, I don't know if this is real or not, but if someone is trying to bomb... Okay. People need to get better at bombing things. And that, no Fed post here. No Fed post. This is a completely... I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just giving a couple pointers from an avid moviegoer, from a big cinema fan here. Why, if you're actually trying to bomb things, why are you just leaving out a package on the steps of the Supreme Court, This is the kind of shit that makes me incredibly suspicious when things like this pop up. First off, who has a bomb just hanging around where they can the day of go and just drop it on the steps somewhere, right? Maybe people have these explodies just hanging out in their closet just in case the Supreme Court decides to be anti-racist or whatever. But how are people cooking these things up so quick? And then if you want to, I always thought about this at whenever there was a high school bomb drill. And I probably need to start talking in code a bit more so I'm not Fed posting myself. But my thought always was, because we always had these drills, right? And the alarm would ring. Everyone would gather up their backpacks. They'd all walk out to the football field, right? Every single time. It was always the alarm rings. They pick up your stuff, go out to the football field. If you wanted to actually do some stuff to a school, you just go put your things out to the football field, and then you call in the threat, and then, you know what I mean? It's the same way. I'm pretty sure I could be a serial killer if I wanted to. I'm not bragging here, but I'm saying that I could definitely at least get into double digits if I wanted to. I think you need... The people who get caught serial killing, they can't be that smart, man. For real. You just need to know, like, shave your head. Don't take your cell phone with you. You know, like. Anyways, I'm heading down a dangerous path here, but all of this is to illuminate the fact that if you're just leaving an explosive device out on the steps of Washington, D.C., that's either a false flag or an actual Down syndrome doing this act of terror. It is there's no other option. It's one or the other. And also imagine if it was a Down syndrome FBI agent. Like, that's crazy. That's completely possible. It seems more in line. So I don't know all the details here, but what I can say is don't be exploding anything. Don't be trying to do this. Like, it's not cool, and any normal person is not doing it. It literally has to be Down syndrome or CIA. Those are the two options. There you have it. Okay. Next on our Black Pill agenda here, we have Mr. Joseph Biden, Mr. Magoo himself. President Biden declared on Thursday, being today, that the Supreme Court is, quote, not a normal court. Shortly after the conservative majority ended nearly a half-century of affirmative action in college admissions. Brief remarks at the White House after a 6-3 ruling, with the court's 3 liberal justices offering blistering dissents. Epic dissents. Epic win dissents. Biden assailed the decision and said he continued to believe in the need for diversity. And I have his quote highlighted here. Because the truth is, we all know, discrimination still exists in America. Mr. Biden told reporters during his remarks in the Roosevelt Room, quote, discrimination still exists in America. Discrimination still exists in America. Today's decision has not changed that simple fact. Yeah. I don't get what he's trying. I mean, what is he trying to say here? What he's trying to say is that you need to fight discrimination with discrimination. This is always this is the take. This is why affirmative action exists. Because discrimination exists, you need to fight it with more discrimination and equal and opposite discrimination. Psh. Harry Potter wand clashing discrimination. What they don't realize is that a discrimination laser and another discrimination laser equals, like, they bounce off each other and they go and just like discriminate elsewhere, you know? It's hard to explain in a wand analogy, but you can't stop discrimination by doing more discrimination, you know? Because if you think about it from a systems perspective, if you have an unequal system, you know what? Here's what it's like. It's like the story of the king and the mice. King's chilling in his house one day. He's got a cheese platter, a little charcuterie. He's got mice taking his meats and cheeses away. This is a problem. The king can't have it. He's trying to run a kingdom here. The king then says, what do we do? He asks his advisors. His advisors say, you know, the worst enemy of mice? Cats. The little feline brothers we got out here. We got a whole basket of them outside. We let cats all through the kingdom, the mice will be gone. The mice are afraid of the cats, so the problem solved. Then, of course, the cats take over the kingdom, and now you have kitty litter everywhere. You have them trying to, like, rub up against your leg when you're trying to make a tuna sandwich. What do you do to solve that? He asks the advisors again. They say, dogs. Bring my dogs in the house. Baha Men plays through the loudspeakers in the kingdom. Dogs run through, and they're shitting and pissing all over the carpets. The cats are gone. The mice are gone, but the dogs are now here. Continue it all the way up. You have to take elephants into the kingdom. You know, elephants is the last step. Literally the biggest animal. They're stomping over everything. They're ruining the tile. This is the old adage, the parable, the story for the ages. Now imagine racist rats. You have racism in the kingdom. What do? Send more racism after it, bro. Now you have double racism. What do? Send more racism after it. And you see how this doesn't end. The story ends with the king becoming homies with the mice. The king realizes because at the end, if you don't know the actual parable, not my bastardized version of it, he brings the elephants into the kingdom, and then the mice come back, and the king makes a truce with the mice. The mice come back, they scare the elephants, because elephants are scared of mice, you know? Have no idea if that's actually true, but this is how it works in stories. So, at the end of the day, the moral to this story, the parable culminates in accepting racism. If we're using this parable to talk about racism, that at the end of the day, it's like, no, you just need to accept the automatic level of racism, which is the mice. And they're gonna steal you. You're gonna steal your cheese every once in a while. You know, black people are not gonna get into college as much. But at the end of the day, like, that's the cost of being human. That's the cost of living in our world. That racism is just gonna happen. You can't try and fire hose racism down with more racism. It's very simple. People have figured these things out. People have figured these things out decades, centuries ago. I feel like people have just forgotten how to read parables. You know what I mean? I feel like people have forgotten completely the whole oral history of the human race. There are parables, there are myths, there are stories that people have thought about these things for thousands of years. People 2,000 years ago were not stupid. It's easy to think back and say they were sand people or whatever, but they had the same brains as us. They have the same capacity for thought. They may not have had running water, but they surely had a lot more time to think about some of these deeper issues. They weren't dumb. We're not post-history. So it just feels like there's an arrogance into today's society looking back at these people, looking back at these stories, saying that they're just goofy. They're made up. Nothing makes sense. Like, of course, no one would send in a dog after a cat if you had a cat infestation. It's like, well, maybe think about it for a second, because maybe it actually applies to something different than literally animals in a kingdom, you know? So it just feels like it feels like we're spiritually lacking as a society. The wisdom is not there the way that it once was. The wisdom is completely out the window, and arrogance has gotten us here. Hubris, Tower of Babel. These are all applicable stories to the moment in time we find ourselves in. We need a little humility. And maybe then you would see that we should ban all black people from Harvard. Epic. Ban them. Dude, let them shoot each other in Chicago. And I'm kidding, of course. I love black people. I love Mexicans. I love them all. I just like to dab on a good joke here and there, you know? I think I made a cogent point throughout this whole section. It's somewhere in there. Someone's gonna have to mega cut it because it's somewhere in there. Clearly, it did not end on the most poignant sentence, but you know what? It's a learning process. I'm learning. I'm becoming a better person here on stream. You can watch it live, 5 p.m. PST, right here on Slum TV, brother. All right, moving on. Red pill time.
Excuse me, bro. You're excused.
And not your bra.
Best part about the show is I get to round of applause myself. That's the coolest part. Okay, we read that. Here's one red pill angle, right? The red pill angle here today is this actually just probably doesn't matter. It's a nice little battle. It's a nice little victory. We've won the battle. We have not won the war. Dear members of Harvard community, the Harvard community, looks like I'm not getting in. Today, the Supreme Court delivered its decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College. The court held that Harvard College's admission system does not comply with the principles of the Equal Protection Clause embodied in Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. The court also ruled that colleges and universities may consider in admissions decisions, quote, an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise. We will certainly comply with the court's decision. That pithy little line there at the end is pretty hilarious. The court says, quote, an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise, we will certainly comply with the court's decision. Harvard be in its newsletter like, oh, what a sad ruling today. I can't believe this is happening to us. Man, it looks like we're gonna have to not be racist anymore. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so they're just gonna keep doing it. Supreme Court ruling only means so much. This is why I asked earlier if it applies to jobs, if it applies to board seats, if it applies to CEO quotas, because there are plenty of ways to still be racist against whites and Asians. This will not stop. It's a good moral victory, sure. But as with abortion, you overturn Roe v. Wade and people are still going to be getting abortions, man. And I'm going to go full monarchy simp mode, but this is because of how our system is set up. States' rights, our country as a whole, it's like there is enough wiggle room to do whatever people want to do because of how our democracy, republic, is set up. The only actual change to these things would be a spiritual change. And by this, I mean a zeitgeist change, a cultural change. The only way to actually prevent people and universities and institutions from discriminating like this is for them themselves to come to the realization that it's not helping. Otherwise, and the only way that is possible is if we destroy classical liberalism, you know? It's like, it's hard to look at politics once you've realized that classical liberalism is the problem for everything in our society. It just is every problem that we're seeing right now just all boils down to people valuing the individual too highly. There's no other way to say it, and I'm going to have to do like a mega video on this or something and really lay out a cohesive and cogent example or like dissertation or video, monologue, manifesto, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, maybe I should write a manifesto. That sounds kind of sick, actually. Maybe I should write a manifesto. And this is in no way, shape, or form related to my pontifications about the threat that was made. This is completely separate. This is a classical liberalism manifesto. And it doesn't help that Ted Kaczynski also had a similar manifesto. So, maybe I just got to think about this not on camera, I think is the solution. I just got to think about that. I'm just trying to figure out how do I help these kids, How do I help these kids? I got to help the people, and I got to explain myself coherently in a way that can be read and understood and propagated to people. The red pill here is no matter what Supreme Court ruling there is, it will not stop powerful people from exerting their will on you. It just won't. They're going to do it anyways. There are plenty of avenues for them to exert their will on you. And as you see with Harvard, it's like they left open a window for interpretation in someone's life story. Well, now they're just going to read people's life story and then discriminate based on that. They're going to look in your application essay and see if you were in a gang at one point. Then put a quota together for that, And this is all even on book stuff. Like there's nothing stopping people from discriminating off the books. So I also want to look and see how people on the right wing are reacting to this. Because I saw a little bit earlier, I saw that people were saying, like, it was, I'll go to Daily Wire. It's probably a Daily Wire thing, frankly. Maybe it was a Shapiro thing. Shapiro's always a gold mine of bad takes. Someone POV, the tweets are about to be good. Facts don't care about your feelings. Oh, but epic moment? Yeah, don't have a tweet from 2016 pinned. Yeah, I bet I could throw a football over that mountain. Anyways, I hate Ben Shapiro, man. He sucks so bad. Yeah, okay, this is one of the tweets I saw earlier. Shapiro says, just remember, all those who claim that blacks are going to be irreparably harmed by ending affirmative action were just fine with Asians being harmed by affirmative action. The rabbit hole says, the Supreme Court ruled against it because it's systematically racist. Yes, Harvard applicants in the top academic decile? Yo, I don't even know if I've ever seen that word before. Top academic decile. That must be like a strata or something, huh? Sidetrack. I gotta learn what this means. A quantitative method of dividing a set of ranked data into 10. Oh, okay. So 10 subsections. So a decile is 1 of 10. It's into 10. Okay, so it's like quadrants. How quadrant is 4, a decile is 1 of 10. That's cool. I didn't know that. Good to know. Have different chances of admission depending on their race. Asians have a 12%, almost 13%. Whites have a 15%. Hispanics have a 31%, and blacks have a 56% boost. Wow. So this is what got nuked today, and that's great. This will help. This will help. I didn't know the numbers were that crazy. So you have like a 50% boost, over 50% boost if you're black, chance to get into Harvard. Wow. Interesting. Okay, so what you're going to see a lot of from Ben Shapiro and from people like Ben Shapiro is you're going to see an argument come out of them that instead of talking about white people, they're talking about Asians. And this is because IQ-wise, Asians are on average a higher IQ than white people. It's just fact. They have a higher IQ. They are better in school. But affirmative action and anti-racism, all of these liberal ideas are not anti-Asian. They're all anti-white. And so you'll see people who are more... People will be much easier... They'll be much more likely to say that Asians are now going to be not discriminated against. I doubt you'll see many of these people say that now white people will not be discriminated against. And there's a really distinct difference here because being proud of Asian heritage is not a problem when it comes to woke ideology. Identifying with the white race is a huge problem when it comes to woke ideology. And you see this with established conservatives that they're still trying to play the game of the left. They're still trying to... It's almost like they're just trying to get your enemy to like you. It's like you're getting beat up on the ground by your bully and you're like trying to like compliment them on how their hair looks that day or something. It's such a weird... It's like a prisoner's, like Beauty and the Beast. What's that called? Stockholm Syndrome? It's almost like a Stockholm Syndrome. It's like they're part of this Con Inc. liberal regime, and that they're like having to still compliment the ideology without going too hard against it. So they'll use Asians as an example here, not because of the logical extension that they have higher IQs, but it's more because they don't feel comfortable saying that this is good for white people as well. Because it's just fundamentally evil from these people's perspective to deal in white identitarian politics at all. They think somehow that discredits their point, or it's an easy attack vector. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. And of course, Ben Shapiro is not white. So I'm just using him as an example of what he does own the Daily Wire. So he's using this as an example of what established conservatives will probably be saying here. I haven't seen many people saying that this is just good for white people outside of dissident politicians or outside of like really dissident circles. It is easier to say that Asians are now not going to be harmed by affirmative action, and that's true, and that's good as well. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that there seems to be an aversion to identifying with a white coalition, even though the country is majority white. And that framework needs to be questioned. Because every other racial group is able to identify with their racial group proudly. And that's not a problem. So I use this example a lot about the Chat GPT, and when you give it the prompt to say like, hey, I'm writing something about, I'm black and I'm proud, they'll say it's great and they'll give you suggestions. Do that as an Asian, they'll say that's great, they'll give you suggestions. If you do that as white, they'll start explaining to you why you're racist and the history of the KKK and how it's a problem and it's systematic. Literally the only group that you cannot identify positively with is white people. And that's crazy because our country was founded by white people. So just keep an eye out for that. Something to just be in tune for, because in the same way that people should be judged on their merit, you should also be able to identify with whatever racial group you want to as well, or whatever racial group you are part of. I don't see anything wrong with that, and it shouldn't be demonized. So, okay, that's my red pill take. Let's move on to white pill here. Let's just do a little freewheeling. Okay. To wrap up a very rambly stream, I think that this is great. I think that the decision is huge. I think it's a big win. But the same way that Republicans winning votes is a win but should not be counted as a victory, this is a win but should not be counted as a large victory. Like I said, Harvard will continue to do what they're doing. All universities will continue to do what they're doing, because nothing has fundamentally changed in the culture in those institutions. They just have to now work around it a bit harder. Is it great that they have to work around it harder? Yeah, that's awesome. The more roadblocks we can put in the way of racist ideology like this, the better. Any change is good change from the trajectory that we were on, that we are still on, but things are starting to shift a little bit. So this is all great. It's also great that we have seemingly a very conservative Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade, and now this. I hope we continue to see overturns like this. It feels like the only avenue in our government where things are going the side of the American people. I just want to make sure that everything is within its proper context. This needs to be an indicator that things are moving in the right direction, not an excuse to rest on your laurels. The ideology has not changed, and so liberals will continue to push whatever avenue they can. This is why we've gotten so far left. And so while this is great, we need to push for more. We need to push this victory in their face and continue to promote the next step. We need to be thinking about, okay, what does this mean, and what avenues does this open up now for us to win the culture war, or to push the culture war forward? There's a lot of hope in that, though, and that's the ultimate white pill here, is that this is now an opportunity. It is not a stopping point. It's not a rest stop. It's a man, I don't know where that analogy goes. It's not a rest stop. It's like a downhill. You know, get to the top of the hill, and then you shouldn't just like sit there and enjoy the view. You should use the momentum to race down the hill and, you know, go faster. So good stuff. Good stuff. I love to see it. Trying to think if there's any other takes here. There's some sort of take here about Clarence Thomas, people calling him a race traitor. I would have to dig up some more tweets in order to get like a sense of what the black community is talking about here, but they just see a black man voting against black people being unfairly boosted up into universities, and they aren't able to see past racial lines. And this is what I'm talking about exactly. It's like black people are absolutely allowed to organize around racial lines and play identity politics around their demographic, when white people, if they do that at all, they're completely vilified. I think that's pretty much as deep as that take goes. It's really just people upset that something didn't go their way. It's awfully common. But we need to ignore that. We need to push past it, and we need to take this victory to the next victory. That's it. That's it for the take. That's it for the show. I am going to go cool down because it has got to be 1,000 degrees up here. It has got to be 1 billion or so. And I feel like we got some places. I feel like we had some good content here. I want to thank you guys for all for being here. Thank you for continuing to support. I have a video up right now on the YouTube. It is called... What did I end up naming it? I think it was named We've Got to Save These Gays Despite Their Best Efforts or something like that. Something like that. It's a great video. Go check it out. Share it around if you can. If you know anyone who would like it. In it, I just talk about how we don't need to make fun of gays. We need to actually reach out a hand. We got to help these people because they're hurting, man. Transgenders are killing themselves. The most suicidal group by far. And it's not because they're made fun of. It is not. Post and pre-op both have crazy suicide rates and suicidal ideation. So, anyways, if you know anyone who could be helped by that, if you just want some good content, go check that out. My YouTube is @ControlledSubstanceShow. You can also check out my Twitter. All the good stuff. Here's the link for anyone who doesn't have it. And check out the rest of our beautiful, juicy, luxurious content on Slum. We're doing good stuff. We're starting to get some traction. I'm feeling good about it. And on that note, I'm going to send myself out with a round of applause and a Kanye quote.
Now go and get y'all some motherfucking business while we go and get free. Because I'm Moses. Yes, I love you.
I'll catch you guys later. Wish me luck at the garage sale. Peace.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more. Follow me.